Welcome to Slow News Day with Kevin Clark. I am Kevin Clark.
Yes.
New mogul in town raises the stakes. I haven't actually left LA. Headlines. Football's back. It is going to be the weirdest season in history. And if anyone tells you, let me look at the camera here. If anyone tells you they know what's going to happen for absolute certainty on the field this year, they're lying to you. I've talked to, 20 smart people who run teams or run coaches or whatever. And I say, hey, what's going to happen? And they either say something incredibly different than the person I talked to previously and the person I talked to after, or they say, I don't know. The smartest people, you know what they're saying? I don't know. A couple of educated guesses on what the season might look like. Number one is that the elite players and the elite teams are going to have a bigger gulf between them and the also-rans. Even though that's been happening naturally the last couple of years, it's going to keep happening and maybe accelerate this year. If you're Patrick Mahomes or you're Lamar Jackson, you're going to have a massive advantage because the teams that would normally spend May, June, July figuring out how to catch up with you, those teams were on Zoom this offseason. Those teams were trying to figure out how to catch up with you without actually being on the field. Everybody was in their apartment saying, wow, this Lamar Jackson looks pretty good. Wonder if we can stop him when we start running around a field in mid-August. No preseason games. Where does that show up? In the nuances. GM told me, Rick Spielman says, it's going to show up on special teams because no one hits. No one hits in practice, flying down on punts. You're not going to do that. So on the first punt on Sunday, you're going to see some stuff that people aren't really trying. Everything is going to be graded on a curve. In some ways, it's going to be the hardest title anyone will ever win. There will almost certainly be a full season and a Super Bowl, but how we get from here to there will be one of the most complicated and strange processes in the history of sports. If someone tells you they know how that's going to play out on the field, do not take that person seriously. That includes me. If I try to tell you something, just dismiss it. Get it out. Did we put an ask out for Jesse Plemons?
Nope.
Jeff Fisher, you're here on behalf of Fanduel. We'll talk about that. This is an important question because a lot of people are getting puppies now because of quarantine, not seeing a lot of people. So there's more of a dog culture. You're a dog guy. Give us some good puppy raising tips if somebody's getting a puppy right now.
Oh, gosh. You got to relate to them and trust them, love on them. And, they have a hard time talking back to you. So, you got to read their minds. But I love dogs, man. I've traveled with mine. I got a 1.5-year-old golden retriever that goes with me wherever I go now. He's a stud in the airport. He gets it. And I'm having a blast with him. Hey, feed them well, man. That's the most important thing for puppies especially. And the one thing I got to point out is that when you get a puppy, understand that you're acquiring a memory because they don't last forever. And so love on them as long as you can.
Before we get to the football, I've grown a mustache over the past couple of weeks, and I need your tips on maintaining it and also just your critique of this particular mustache, Jeff.
Do you have a cat close by?
I don't.
No, because I say if you did have a cat, just have a bowl of oatmeal with some milk and just let the cat lick it off. He needs some work.
I've had this particular mustache for about a day. So it's a
well,
process.
My kids have been trying for 20 years to get me to shave. And, it's like, Dad, how long have you had your mustache? Well, I grew it in high school, man. I hadn't shaved since. So I don't know what my upper lip looks like.
With training camp now, I want to talk a little about football. For these teams, what does this season look like now without that practice?
There's going to be a lot of balls on the ground. That's going to be the most obvious thing when they kick it off. The ball security is going to be a deal because it's hard to hang on to that brown thing, and you got to practice it. Tackling's going to be poor, and the young guys are going to take a while to come on the scene. Those experienced offensive lines are going to have an advantage because the guys have worked together. They've communicated together. If you're a team that's plucking and pulling people in and counting on a rookie and going out and getting a free agent or something like that, it's going to take some time to get them working together. And I hate to downplay the magnitude or the whole COVID crisis by referring to it as a distraction. But as far as the NFL and football is concerned, this is the biggest distraction in NFL history.
I want to talk about Fanduel. You're here on behalf of them. Tell us what you're doing with them, and then we'll get into some fantasy talk.
I have to preface it by this. When I was in the league, you didn't get involved. You didn't pay attention. Right. You don't have time, but it's gambling. been out of the league for a couple of years. I got a call less than a month ago on a Friday, said, can you be in Chicago on Tuesday to do this commercial? My first question was, is it safe? They said, yeah. And I said, who's it with? And they said Fanduel. I said, oh, well, what's that? So I'm learning, and I'm really fascinated by this. I'm just getting into it.
It's the best ball competition. I think it's fascinating. I enjoy the idea, Jeff, of you throwing yourself into fantasy sports after all of these years in regular football. Give us your best Steve McNair story. All-time badass, incredible quarterback. You had him through the peak of his career.
Forever,
when you're thinking about what he was able to do on the football field, what stands out?
Steve didn't sleep the night before. He had a hard time, the butterflies, nerves, and things like that. And everybody does something different. Steve watched 2 shows, if he could, all night long: Gunsmoke and Andy Griffith.
Oh my God, it's like my dad.
Yeah, I know. And then he'll come to wherever stadium, either home or away, and go out, throw the ball around the yard a little bit, get loose, and take a nap. And if he didn't take his nap prior to the warm-ups, then he wasn't going to get going until the second half. And that's just a little of this stuff. I miss him. I think about him every day. He was just a great player for this league. Unfortunately, the young guys will not get a chance to know him. And, he just was just a special teammate and a good friend.
We'll go to the newspaper here real quick. What sports do you watch that aren't football, Jeff? Baseball? You watching the hoops playoffs? Hockey?
Pretty much, I've been to hockey. I just don't have time. I mean, fish start biting early and they bite till after dark, so I haven't had time. But
we got filming during time of pandemic here. Are you watching any show or movie, or have you seen something recently you got to recommend to the people, Jeff?
You guys, if you haven't started Yellowstone, go do Yellowstone.
You seem like a Yellowstone guy. I have not gotten into it. Pitch me on Yellowstone.
That's a slam dunk, man. You got to go. If you start it, they're already middle of season 3, and you won't sleep for a couple of weeks. It's that good.
What's good about it?
Well, just the whole thing, everything up there. Kevin Costner for one, but the whole crew. The whole crew is outstanding. The storyline is great. And you know anything about Montana, you're going to be fascinated. If you don't know anything about it and you watch Yellowstone, you'll take a trip there as soon as you can.
Let's do horoscopes real quick. When's your birthday, Jeff?
2/25.
You're a Pisces. Someone has to be the bad guy who reads your horoscope. And if it's you, don't sweat it. There's advantage in disagreement. Is this about my mustache?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to necessarily get personal on it, but the truth is your mustache is suspect, okay? And it needs some work.
Club Kevin, it's just whoever you think has been crushing it the last couple of weeks, this week, could be anybody. Anybody you think has been particularly a standout human being over the past couple of weeks, Jeff?
Oh, boy. I mean, just kind of looking around, Dustin Johnson's been...
30 under, won a golf tournament by 11 strokes.
It'd take us a whole year to get 30 birdies, let alone 4 days.
Dustin Johnson's number 1. So congratulations, Dustin Johnson. You're in Club Kevin. He's won tens of millions of dollars in his career. He's won a major, and he's now 30 under. But most importantly, he's in Club Kevin. Jeff, we'll let you out on this one.
Let's go. No, let's go Kevin Costner. I brought it up.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm loving on the show. Let's go. Come on. How good is he?
Kevin Costner, also in Club Kevin. Congratulations. Last thing for you, Jeff. We want to make this fun for you. We want you to address the haters, because online you've become a meme sometimes the last couple of years. A lot of jokes about 8-8 or 7-9.
Well, I don't have any hard feelings. It's half full or half empty thing. And, most of those people that come out and buy into some narrative are doing it because someone else is thinking for them. They don't do the fact checks. They don't look at the positive. They don't look at what's real. They just jump on a bandwagon. And those people need to look in the mirror and ask themselves, how really happy are they? That's negativity that breeds negativity. Do the research, man. And why would you tear into somebody that does something different for a living, that does the best he can? Before you say something about somebody, you might as well take the time to just figure out whether it's true or not.
I love it.
It's pretty simple. I know what the truth is. I know, I went to bed every night, put my head down on that perennial pillow, knowing I gave it the best I could that day. And I affected a lot of lives. It changed a lot of lives and influenced a lot of people in a positive way. And I'm not perfect, period.
Jeff Fisher, that was amazing. Thank you so much for coming on Slow News Day.
Thank you. It's an honor, Kevin. I'll see you.